During that meeting with President Trump at the Oval Office, the German Chancellor said that Germany and the United States are on the same page in getting rid of what he called the terrible regime in Iran. But President Trump told reporters he'd asked his Treasury Secretary to cut off dealing with Spain over its response to the Iran offensive. As we heard there from Duncan in the last couple of hours, the French President Emmanuel Macron announced that France is sending its only aircraft carrier, the Charles de Gaulle, to the eastern Mediterranean in response to the deepening crisis. Well, let's speak now to Daniel Attard, who is a member of the European Parliament from Malta, from the group of the Progressive Alliance of Socialists and Democrats, and Vice Chair of Delegation for Relations with Iran. He joins us live now from Brussels. Daniel, thank you very much for joining us on the Context USA today. I want to get your reaction, first of all, to President Trump's comments about the UK and Spain, in specific reference to the UK and the Prime Minister Keir Starmer. He said, we're not dealing with Winston Churchill.
I mean, that reference to Winston Churchill reminds us of the importance of multilateralism and international order, which were needed after the Second World War. And I'd rather focus on that than the comments which were made on the specific European leaders. Listen, the US and Europe and also the UK have shared fundamental values and decades of strategic partnership. And I am sure and I trust that the transatlantic relationship will endure beyond any single crisis because it is stronger than any single moment or crisis.
And we've seen Chancellor Merz of Germany say that he's told President Trump with regards to Spain, who Mr. Trump talked about cutting out of deals, that Chancellor Merz has said, that can't happen because Spain is included in any deals with the European Union. Let's focus then in on the action that's taking place. Do you fundamentally disagree with, say, the UK's position and indeed France as well? President Macron saying that he believes this action is not legal.
Listen, there are serious legal questions about this military operation, but we must not lose sight of where the root causes of this crisis lies. The Iranian regime has for decades destabilized the region, sponsored militias and repressed its very own people. So the ultimate responsibility of this conflict lies with the Iranian regime, and sovereignty cannot be used as a shield by a regime which has killed and imprisoned its own people to stay in power.
President Trump has said that it's too late if Iran wants to talk. Do you think it is too late, or do you think that there may be voices from the hierarchy, from the regime, that could yet reach out and get back into discussions with the United States? President Trump did hint earlier, didn't he, that certain individuals, he didn't say who, obviously, are looking for immunity.
I would say that I'd rather have 10 years of diplomacy than a single day of war. But the situation is what it is. The Iranian people are the ultimate victim of the situation. As a European and as a parliamentarian, I would advocate for hard diplomacy. And this is what I think that Europe should lead. Europe should, first of all, protect its own citizens, but we should also lead talks towards de-escalation. And we should also lead in building a path towards a return to diplomacy, because that is always an alternative. And as a parliament, we have also spoken about those alternatives for weeks, months, and also years. We have called for harsher sanctions to be imposed on the Iranian regime. Those sanctions were working, and finally, we also got the European Council to align with our position. So diplomacy should always prevail.
We've seen difficult times between Europe and the United States when it comes to diplomacy and conversations of that nature on a number of fronts. Greenland, for example, Ukraine as well. So you say that Europe should take a position trying to lead towards a diplomatic solution in Iran. Do you think the US and Israel will listen to that from Europe?
Europe should definitely not be a spectator. We should not be subservient to anyone. We should obviously build on the strategic partnership.
But specifically how, Daniel, do you get the US primarily to listen to that?
By standing up for what we believe in, by standing up for our values, by being consistent, and by building our own strategic autonomy. Being strategically autonomous does not mean being building animosity towards the US. So a strategic partnership does not mean strategic dependence.
Okay, Daniel Attard, thank you very much.